Well, we've partnered with Culturalyst to create something that's going to help us do all those things and so much more, and I don't want to steal Sam's thunder, so Sam, please come up here and show us what Culturalyst is all about. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Hi, y'all. Okay, so first, thank you so much for having me. This event is amazing. I can't believe it's the first year. And to be brought into another community, I live in New Orleans now, but it's a huge gift to be welcomed to a community and to be tapped in, because you all know what it takes to sort of be in a place and to get to know people. It takes time and effort, and that's the richness that creates a place. So to be tapped into that is a gift. So thank you. I don't want to, it's the end of the day, and I don't want to, go too long, but I want to describe who I am, because I think with everyone in the arts, so much about this is what drives us. Why are we here? Why do we do this? So I'm going to click to a very large picture of myself and then click away from it. I made this slide too, and I didn't even think about how large the picture of myself would be. Randy spoke about what we did during COVID. So I learned how to sew during COVID. And this is me. I dyed some indigo. And this is my neighbor, Mr. Willie, who's 80. And I worked with him to design this jumpsuit, the jacket, and the pants. And then he modeled it for this photo shoot. And Mr. Willie spent 50 years in Angola State Prison for a crime he didn't commit. And guess what got him through? Somehow, miraculously, he's an artist. So Randy spoke about, again, the power of the arts. You can't even begin to imagine what that felt like. So a bit about me. I grew up in Dallas. I used to come to Fort Worth to play Fort Worth Country Day. They would beat us all the time. I'm still resentful. And my mother was a writer and an artist, and she taught me how to access myself, and if I shared the work, other people. And that's a belief that sort of buoyed me throughout my entire life. After she passed, art was the lifeboat. And it's a huge belief in my life that we need to create more pathways for people to know themselves, and if they share the work, to know each other. So that was with me. I moved to New Orleans. I called the Arts Council, just like Wesley just described, and I said, I'm looking for other sculptors. I want to share equipment. They said, well, we had an artist directory, but the person who managed it left last year and it fell down. Here's the name of 2 artists. You guys are nodding that this is kind of a familiar story. So I called those artists. They since moved. So I was like, okay, in a city full of artists, arguably the artists want to be found, and I'm really trying here, and it's still hard to find these artists. That's weird. So I started to investigate, and I came to understand, this is another sculpture I made, but I forgot that piece. So that the existing infrastructure for the arts looks like this. It's a patchwork of independent systems. So for the past 35 years, really since the web was a thing, every arts community, despite having similar challenges, how do you find artists? How do you resource artists? How do you share opportunities? Everyone's solving these challenges alone. And then what that's led to is that every database is siloed. You can't share information between them. They're often outdated. So you spend 30 to 60K to build technology. It lasts maybe 3 to 5 years, then falls down, or the person leaves that manages it. So it's constantly outdated. And often these platforms that are set up are difficult to navigate, probably because they're outdated. And as a result, as a sector, we've kind of lost the trust of artists engaging with artist directories. So all this, I was sort of researching this. I learned how to code. I met other people who also had sort of a similar idea of there's got to be a better way. And we did something pretty uncomplicated. We decided if every arts community has shared problems, and the arts sector is so resource constrained, why don't we just work together and share digital infrastructure between cultural communities? And we can work on it together to make sure it stays current and keeps evolving. So that's what we did. We launched a system that's shared, that's constantly evolving, and as a result, it's easier because tech has to keep evolving, it has to be adaptive to the needs of the people that are using it. And that's one thing that the arts sector, as a result of being resource constrained and all these siloed systems, it wasn't doing that. Hasn't been doing that. So we built Culturalyst. I'm going to talk you through sort of 3 things that we're focused on right now, and then show you the platform. First is discovery. So we think about discovery, and what I want you to imagine is Craigslist. Everyone knows Craigslist, right? It's a bit dated now, but I have a warm place in my heart for Craigslist. But for some reason, it's been easier to find couches and cars than it is to find artists in each city. And that's bizarre, because artists want to be found. So what if we just built a network that everyone is connected to each other? So we've got networks in 14 different cities. We're in the country of Albania, working with the Arts Council there. So if someone's looking at an artist portfolio site in Albania, they're one click away from finding artists in Fort Worth, or St. Louis, or New Haven. Same thing with opportunities, which I'll get to in a second. But we think about discovery needs to really serve the artist and serve the arts organizations. And if everyone's building these independent systems, you don't get the network effect, which is really beneficial for discovery. So we've got about 12,000 people a month, it's growing every single month, using our platform, spending over 8 minutes exploring artists, which is really good for the industry. The second way we think about discovery is we want to make sure that artists are able to get a portfolio site if they need it, and that portfolio site shows up on Google. So this is a portfolio site on Culturalyst. We want to make sure that artists' names are appearing in the Google results. So in the past 6 months, we've provided a whole ton of Google impressions. We also have learned, which I was just speaking with an artist about over there, that artists are fatigued of creating new profiles, all these different places. So if you already have a website you manage or an Instagram you manage, just link that. We don't care how much time you're spending. We're not making our money from ad revenue. So we don't need you to do all this stuff to make and live on this platform. If you've got an existing site you manage, link to that. This is where I think we're making the most impact now, and I'm excited to collaborate with you guys on this, is that the beauty of this network is that any arts organization can share their grant, open call, residency, all these lists of opportunities. You can share it across the network. And when you do, you can say, this is for painters, or this is for sculptors, or this is for musicians. And we'll automatically, twice a month, send all the opportunities to each artist based on their discipline, their age, their demographics, to save the artist time from having to go to all these different sites and search for opportunities. So in the last year, we had over 600 organizations 320 organizations share opportunities across this network. And what we're seeing is that there's galleries in New Haven posting calls that are ending up at the inboxes of artists in the Bayou region of Louisiana, this little tiny town with an arts council of one person, and that those artists are applying and getting those opportunities in New Haven. So it's expanding what's possible for artists as a result of all we're doing is connecting the dots here. The final thing that I'll talk about, and this is sort of just the beginning of this, which I'll speak on, is data, which Randy sort of spoke to. So much of this is a story, and yet in the arts sector, we're missing local cultural data. We don't really know how many artists live everywhere, anywhere. We don't know how many opportunities are available to those artists at a given time. So if an artist calls and says, like, what's the dollar value of grants available to me as a painter right now? We have no idea. Nor do we know which organizations are sharing those grants. A lot of it's just sort of, please post this on this page or put this on Facebook or whatever. It's difficult. So we want to be able to provide our agency partners with all the data that they can gather to tell the story and to serve their communities best. Because arts agencies know their communities. We want to build the best container for their information so that they can do what they do best, which is to serve their artists and to know them well. So what's coming? We've got a baseline set of features right now, but this really is a collaboration with Arts Fort Worth and with all of our agency partners. Technology has to keep evolving. So we see this as just the beginning, and we want to be listening to y'all. What do you need? What features would help your practice or your organizations? We want to listen and evolve this software so that it can stay relevant and provide you value. Because if it doesn't provide you value, what's the point of using it? So we've got coming down a new event calendar. I'm going to show you this AI-powered search. I know AI is complicated, to say the least, but we're using it in a way that we think is equitable. We've got an application management tool coming, meaning if you've got a portfolio site on Culturalyst, you've got a whole bunch of your photos of your work. If you go click on a grant, you should be able to pull from that work, pull from a couple answers you've already got existing from other applications and just plug them in, maybe answer one or two specific questions for that opportunity and press submit. as opposed to having to store all this stuff and apply and keep track. There should be a more streamlined process for artists and for organizations in the application management process. We imagine, and another thing I want you to think about is, if social media is the ocean, where you're sort of bobbing along and we're telling people just keep creating content, you know, and it's this big ocean, think of Culturalyst like a bay where you can learn to swim, you can understand who's around you. You know, it's a much smaller, more manageable context to have an art practice as opposed to the World Wide Web. So this is our network. Again, we're in 14 cities. We're incredibly proud to be part of Fort Worth. And I want to speak just sort of for a second on this partnership. We couldn't be happier to be working with Wesley and his team and Serena and Amy and Heather and Elena. They've been incredible to work with. All we see ourselves as is a tech partner to an arts agency. We want to be listening. We want to be learning from them. We want to be understanding how they can serve their artists, and we want to be building and managing the technology well. There's something I think about when we've got a vision for a more collaborative future. The arts sector is so resource constrained. It's likely, if things are trending in the direction that they are, going to be more resource constrained in the future. We have to start working together more as a sector. And we have a vision at Culturalyst for a very shared, collaborative future. And when you meet partners that have that same vision, in our first call, I was sort of describing this, what you're seeing now, and Wesley and his team are all nodding, because clearly they're thinking about the same things. We should be collaborating more. We should be working together. We should be finding ways to sort of share our expertise and share resources. So it's just been, I want to say a big thank you to you and your team, Wesley, for, a round of applause would be great. Thank you. For believing in this future and helping to build it with us. So thank you. So I'm going to now show, Megan, if you could press play, thank you. Oop. I'll get to the thank you, I promise. So if you click on it twice, it should pop up the YouTube. Let's see. Yeah. So as that gets pulled up, I'll tell you about the next sort of 6 months for us is lots of listening. So as you see the demo and as you go and check out the site, you should all have cards in your welcome bags. And if not, our tables downstairs, we've got QR codes on those cards. Take you right to the site. When you check it out, we'd love you to be taking notes along the way and be thinking about ways it could be improved, features you'd love to see, because that's exactly what we're designed to do, is listen and respond to what you're experiencing, what you're needing. And then we're in the process of doing this sort of rebuild. That's the card right there. That's the card. Great, thank you, Wesley. So no, we don't make money on advertising. Our model is as we all know in this sector, funding goes up and down. We believe that there should be a public digital infrastructure system that is paid for through tax dollars. So we partner with arts agencies that are publicly funded. We have a price for each arts agency that depends on their budget. We want this infrastructure to be accessible to every single community. So we meet the arts agency where they are with their budget, and that's who pays for Culturalyst to exist in the city. So Arts Fort Worth is paying for Culturalyst to be free for every single artist in the city, every single organization in the city, and then we are responsive. If the budgets dramatically change, we will change with them because we believe truly in a partnership here. Yes, okay, yes. Not necessarily publicly funded, but the idea of the agency being in charge of the community and serving that community. Yep, so the AI, we're going to demo that, and I'm going to speak to that when we get there. And if I forget, thank you. So what you see here on this first page, this is just going to play in the background. This is the Explore page. So the idea is that this is the front page for local culture in Fort Worth. And it's going to become more dynamic. Artists' work can be shared here. News stories posted by different organizations. Articles can be posted here. So we imagine this being a very social place. You see artist portfolios. We want them to be very visual and engaging. So this is the artist directory. That's probably something you're used to. You can filter down by discipline, by race, by age, by teaching artists. There's a whole bunch of filters that we keep on adding. So now I'm searching for visual artists. I'm drilling down. I'm going to search for myself. So this is sculpture. We've got a whole bunch of disciplines. We can always be adding more. Here's more filters. And then you click on a portfolio site. And every word in the artist bio is search engine optimized, meaning that Google indexes all those words, so you show up naturally on Google results. This is my portfolio site. You can have photo, video, audio, PDFs. There's going to be in the future multiple templates you can choose from. We're seeing lots of artists use this as their main portfolio site. Right now there's a limit on 25 photos, but that limit's about to be lifted. So you can store as many photos as you want. You can use this as an archive system for you and your work. We also have organization profiles. We don't care if you make a profile. You can link to your own website, like here for Arts Fort Worth. And then this opportunity section, I think, is where hopefully you guys will start to get value right away, where you can search for opportunities to your discipline, different types. And what it allows is for how many arts organizations are in the room. So great. So you guys, if you have opportunities, you can sign up for free. You can post your opportunity, and when you do so, you can select, is this just local for Fort Worth, or certain cities, or across the state, or across the network? And then it'll automatically flow to all the artists that are relevant or all the organizations that are relevant. So this is a call. If you click the link to apply, it brings you straight to that opportunity. So really, we've designed it right now to be fitting in where existing systems already are in place. So this is the back end, and we built this to be really similar to every other site that you sign up for. You add your own work. You can edit this at any time. This is where you'll keep opportunities you've got as a draft. You can edit them. So we've got more stuff coming. You can add your CV. You can select as many disciplines as you want. This is selecting different genres for music. You can add tags. So are you open to collaboration? Are you open for gigs? This is the work section. So again, this is just the beginning. We see this improving big time in our next update in the next few months. This is adding an opportunity. So again, for those organizations, just very typically, you select a deadline, select a scope. You can choose where it goes and also which type of opportunity it is. Here we go. So multiple cities you can choose from. Let's see where it goes next. Okay, so now let's talk about AI. So the data that's on Culturalyst, again, we're just trying to be a container. All the data belongs to every agency partner that signs up. It's their data. And it's really the artists and organizations' data. It's yours. We're not trying to be in the business of owning the data. But what we want to do is experiment with where technology is going. And so we think that it would be a disservice to artist discovery and discovery of opportunities and organizations if we didn't experiment with how AI can be helpful in that regard. So what we've done is we put AI on top of the data that lives in the system. So you can do a search for, can you recommend an artist for a school mural? And an artist pops up, and you can go check out their website and see it. Yes. Great. So we don't look at images. We're looking only at the inputted text that artists are putting in. So the system is not learning anything new from artists' work. It's only so that you can do a more conversational search based on what the artist has put in for their bio, if that makes sense. Because our expectation is, as AI becomes more adopted, people are going to get used to this conversational search where they're typing stuff in. And we want that same level of discovery to happen for a local cultural community. So we want to be able to use that tool while safeguarding AI from being able to scrape and learn from artists' images. Yep. So this is all the different cities that we're in. And again, this is just the beginning. So we're in these 14 cities. We have been building up a list of organizations and cities that are interested in a more collaborative future, that are tired of building their own technology. And it means so much to us that Fort Worth is sort of one of the early cities, the first in Texas to sign on and to believe in this really collaborative future. So I'll leave it at that.
I love it. Thank you so much, Sam.
Yeah.
If we have other questions, I know, Sam, you're going to be sticking around a little bit, and we're getting close to the end of our time. So I want to switch mics with you. So
Yeah, thank you all so much for your time and attention.
thank you, Sam. That's fantastic. Really, thank you.